Mangwana ni mwalelepo fukenjani, Kleklas Dumela Vanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show, bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwin Bedi on Monday, the 13th of July. And these are some of the top stories we'll be looking at. South Africa mourns World Cup midfielder Jayden Adams. Senegal Constitutional Court rejects parliament reform. Nigeria investigates alleged fake government council. Kenya Parliament appeals cabinet gender ruling. Morocco sets sights on 2030 after World Cup exit. And plus, Mike Sichula sent us through his Zambia report. He's unfortunately not feeling very well today, and we certainly hope that he gets well soon. This is Africa Good Morning on DStv 285, GOtv 25, 1up2.com, Network Media Hub, and ntvafrika.my.na. My name is Ashwin Bedi. Top story shortly.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises. From artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative sport tourism.
Let's get into our top stories. South Africa and Sundowns midfielder Jayden Adams has died at the age of 25, only weeks after representing his country at the FIFA World Cup. Adams featured in all three of South Africa's group matches as the team reached the knockout stages before losing to co-host Canada in round of 32. South Africa's Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, Gayton McKenzie, described the news as a profound shock and said the country had lost one of its brightest young football talents. Police confirmed they had opened an investigation after the body of a 25-year-old man was discovered at a house in Schotskloof in central Cape Town on Saturday morning. McKenzie urged the public and media to avoid speculation, saying the cause of death had not yet been confirmed. Adams made his South Africa debut in 2022, began his career at Stellenbosch FC before joining Mamelodi Sundowns in January 2025, won League and African Champions League titles, reached the 2023 Africa Cup of Nations semi-finals, and represented Bafana. May his soul rest in peace. Now, Senegal's Constitutional Court has ruled that constitutional amendments adopted by Parliament last month are contrary to the Constitution, striking down reforms that would have altered the balance of power in government. The ruling followed changes approved by the National Assembly on June 29. Among the proposed amendments was a provision preventing a sitting president from serving as leader of a political party. President Bassirou Diomaye Faye had announced plans to establish his own political party. The constitutional reform initiative was driven by the ruling PASTEF party, led by Parliament Speaker and former Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko. Critics argued the proposed changes represented an attempted power grab by Sonko after President Faye removed him as head of government in May. The Constitutional Court said Faye had requested a review of parliamentary procedures to determine whether violations invalidated the reform. The political split between former allies Faye and Sonko comes as Senegal continues addressing a crisis linked to the disclosure of misreported debt in 2024. As we highlighted last week in this developing story, Nigerian authorities are investigating how the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council operated, despite the presidency stating it had never been legally established. The organization presented itself as an agency created to attract foreign investment, operated from offices inside the Federal Secretariat in Abuja, employed civil servants, used a government website, secured approval to recruit more than 300 staff, and received a 1.3 billion naira allocation in the 2026 national budget. Authorities say its legitimacy relied on a forged appointment letter claiming President Bola Tinubu appointed Prince Edeniyi Adeyemi Matthew as Director General using a forged signature of Chief of Staff Femi Gbajabiamila. Adeyemi denies wrongdoing, insists the council was lawfully established in 2024, and alleges senior officials demanded bribes before attempting to seize council funds. Police launched a manhunt after he went into hiding, although he says he will appear in court later this month. President Tinubu ordered an anti-corruption investigation, including the role of public officers, while opposition parties, lawyers and campaigners continue calling for an independent judicial inquiry into the entire matter. Now, Kenya's National Assembly has filed a notice of appeal challenging a High Court judgment declaring President William Ruto's cabinet unconstitutional for failing to meet the Constitution's two-thirds gender principle. Parliament and National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula are contesting parts of the June 30, 2026 decision delivered by Justices Eric Ogola, Stephen Gitinji, and Jairus Nga. The appeal disputes the finding that the Cabinet violates Article 27, subsection 8, which requires that no more than two-thirds of members of an appointive public body be of the same gender. Parliament also challenges the interpretation that the constitutional requirement is immediately enforceable in appointive offices and the directive requiring the President to reconstitute the Cabinet within 120 days. The court found that the 25-member cabinet comprises 18 men and 7 women, leaving women with 28% representation instead of the required minimum one-third. The judges ruled that at least 9 cabinet positions should be held by the underrepresented gender and directed President Ruto to make appointments complying with Article 27, subsection 8 within 120 days from the judgment. Now, we've been paying attention to the FIFA World Cup. We know that this week is semi-final week. Argentina will face England, foes who know each other well, especially when it comes to historic matches, including Maradona's Hand of God. But this time, the situation is different. It's Lionel Messi against the likes of Jude Bellingham. And then France and Spain, the heavyweights of Europe, are also going to be battling it out this weekend. By Sunday, we will know who our world champions are. However, Morocco, one of Africa's teams which had made it to the quarter-finals, is now shifting its focus to co-hosting the 2030 FIFA World Cup after its 2026 campaign ended with a 2-0 quarter-final defeat to France. 4 years after losing to France in the semi-finals in Qatar, Morocco again exited the tournament against the same opponents. Their performances nevertheless marked another milestone as they became the first African nation to reach successive World Cup quarter-finals after eliminating the Netherlands and challenging Brazil during the tournament. Mohamed Ouabi took charge only 3 months before the finals after leading Morocco to the Under-20 World Cup title and guided the team through the expanded tournament. Morocco automatically qualifies for the 2030 World Cup as co-hosts alongside Portugal and Spain. Ouabi said the squad is young, talented and capable of further development, but added that attention must first turn to the Africa Cup of Nations. Morocco will face qualifiers beginning in September against Gabon, Lesotho and Niger. Ouabi also said the team needs stronger opposition to prepare for future World Cup challenges while pursuing success in upcoming continental competitions before 2030. Those have been our top stories on Africa Good Morning. Shortly, I shall be reading through Mike Sichula's Zambia Report, but prior to that, let's have a look at the weather predictions.
Do you like traveling?
Do you like to experience new places?
Well, then you should tune into On the Rock, where we explore enjoy establishments all over Namibia and South Africa. Great food, great fun, and so much more. So be sure to mark your calendar as we explore the beautiful landscapes of Namibia at the various enjoy establishments.
And where we also get to go on game drives, different activities, and meet the awesome staff of the different establishments.
We will see you there. Watch On the Rocks every Monday at 9 p.m. on DStv channel 285 and GOtv channel 25.
All right, let's get into the Zambia Report. The Lusaka Magistrates Court has for the second time adjourned the high-profile matter in which former Zambia Security Intelligence Service Director General Xavier Chungu is facing serious charges. Chungu, who has remained in custody since late May 2026, is charged with multiple counts including seditious practices, communication of certain information, and publication or disclosure of information to unauthorized persons. When the case came up for mention before Chief Resident Magistrate Tandose Chabala, the state applied for adjournment, citing that the Director of Public Prosecutions, Gilbert Piri, had not yet issued the required instructions and certificate of committal to enable the matter to be committed to High Court for trial. Magistrate Chabala granted the request and adjourned the case to 22 July 2026. Prosecutors allege that the seditious remarks were made by Chungu during an interview on the popular That Z podcast, where he reportedly disclosed sensitive details allegedly obtained through his former position as intelligence chief. The repeated procedural delays have kept Chungu behind bars as legal processes unfold. The case continues to draw significant public and political attention, given Chungu's past influential role in Zambia's security apparatus and his reported political ambitions. Observers are closely monitoring how the judicial system handles such sensitive national security-related matters. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we must let you know that the next story is graphic in nature. It will not be so visually, but it is a rather challenging story to digest. So do take note of that. We are, however, going to stick to the story as it is, as it was sent by Mike Sichula in Zambia. On a sad note, a 7-year-old boy is recovering at Levi Mwanawasa University Teaching Hospital in Lusaka after undergoing emergency surgery for a serious genital injury sustained while attempting to circumcise himself. The boy repeatedly used a razor blade in the risky self-procedure at home. According to hospital officials, the urology team promptly assessed the child and performed successful emergency surgery. He is now in stable condition and on the road to full recovery. The boy's mother informed medical staff that her son had on several previous occasions expressed a strong desire to be circumcised, but the family had not yet arranged the procedure through proper medical channels. Doctors highlighted that as children grow older and spend more time with peers, they become increasingly curious about their bodies and physical differences. Without adequate parental guidance and age-appropriate explanations, this curiosity can unfortunately lead to dangerous decisions with potentially severe consequences. Levi Mwanawasa Hospital used the incident to urge parents and guardians to engage children openly on health matters, seek professional medical advice promptly, and avoid delays that could result in preventable harm. Male circumcision remains a safe procedure only when performed by qualified healthcare professionals in a sterile clinical environment. The hospital commended the medical team for their swift and coordinated intervention. All right, and we cap off the Zambia Report with sport. The Zambia Under-17 Copper Princesses have once again made history by qualifying for the 2026 FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, marking their third consecutive appearance at the global showpiece. Now, head coach Carol Kanyemba has etched her name in Zambian football lore as the first and only local coach to qualify a national team for a FIFA tournament at any age level on 3 successive occasions. The decisive qualification came after a 10-second leg tie against Ethiopia played at the Abebe Bikila Stadium in Addis Ababa. Zambia battled to a 1-1 draw in the return fixture, progressing 3-2 on aggregate following a narrow 2-1 victory in the first leg. The results triggered wild celebrations among players, technical staff and Zambian football fans. Kanyemba's tactical acumen and the team's resilience have been pivotal in sustaining Zambia's dominance in regional youth women's football. This achievement underscores the continued investment and progress in girls' football development programs under the Football Association of Zambia. The Copper Princesses would now prepare to represent the nation at the finals expected in Morocco, aiming to build on previous impressive performances on the world stage. The feat has boosted national pride and inspired young female athletes across the country. Well done, Copper Princesses. This is Still Africa. Good morning. We're going to take a quick break before we return with economic news.
Are you curious as to what is driving the cars world? Well, we are bringing you into the world of cars. Tech, trends, road trips, and the stories behind the wheels. It's fun, it's fast, and it's full of surprises. This is your ultimate cars companion. You can catch my.na Cars every Thursday at 9 p.m. with me, your favorite passenger princess, Diana Master, because it's not just about the ride, it's about the journey.
Aitsa is 'n eg Namibiese inisiatief. Ons reis op die hartklop van Afrika en vertel stories van mense en hulle dorpe op verskeie platforms insluitende televisie en sosiale media. Dit is joune, syne, julle en ook almal van hulle aan die ander kant van ons grense sinne en dit maak Aitsa 'n lekker ding. Kyk Aitsa maande om 18:30 op NTV, 102.com as ook op Netwerk Media Hub en NTV Afrikaans se YouTube kanale. Volg ons op Facebook of besoek ons webwerf by ntvafrika.my.na.
All right, this is Still Africa. Good morning. Now we're going to be leaving you with an update which Wandile Sihlobo delivered on his X page with regards to the El Nino weather patterns and their impact on South Africa's food inflation prices heading into 2027. From me, Ashwin Berry and the Africa Good Morning team, do meet us again tomorrow as Talent Gore joins us with the Zimbabwe Report. And as always, we will be bringing you the stories from broader Africa. Keeping in mind, in Zimbabwe, the president has just signed the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3, which extends his presidential term and moves elections from public vote to a parliamentary selection of the president. So do make sure you join us tomorrow as Talent Gore takes us through that. But for now, here is Wandile Sihlobo.
Folks, as South Africa, we are about 4 months to the start of the 2026-27 summer crop season. That's your maize, sunflower, soybeans, peanuts, and the likes. We're heading towards an El Nino weather phenomenon. That's what the South African Weather Service is saying. Many weather forecasters across the world, they've been signaling that for some time. And others are saying this will be one of the strongest or most challenging El Nino. The question is still out there whether this will be a multi-season or it will be just as intense but one season. That's what we will still, we are yet to see, all of us. But this morning, as I sat in various meetings, I've noticed many people were messaging me. I think that they are beginning to write a couple of stories as we head towards the start of the new season, asking about how worried are we about the El Nino and what are our thoughts about that. And my broad answer has been that, look, nothing has changed from what we have signaled already in a number of our notes and the videos, which is that we're heading towards a concerning season ahead because an El Nino in South Africa and much of Southern Africa means that there's a higher possibility of below normal rainfall. But it's always unclear until we are really in there as to how intense this will be. Some South Africans may recall the 2014-15, 15-16 droughts. That period was very difficult. It led to devastation in livestock, field crops and the likes. But we also had a mild one somewhere around 2018-19 and a midsummer drought around 2024. All of those had varying impact on the crops. But I think the 2014-15, 15-16, that was in recent memory the most challenging period. This time around is different from all of those too, because we've received La Nina rains this year, and in fact, for much of South Africa, we were receiving rains through to the beginning of May. And that means that the soil moisture in the water table across South Africa and even the grazing veld is in a better condition than in those years. Just about a day ago, I was talking about how the Karoo region and the Kalahari region of South Africa are so beautiful to an extent that the sheep farmers in those areas and livestock farmers are saying they've never seen that area being this beautiful. That also means then that the grazing veld for them is excellent in that area. So we are heading towards this season with that better start than the recent droughts that we've had. If then we could be able to get rain and get it in appropriate time as farmers plant, we get nice follow-up rain, then that means that in terms of the crop output, things may not be as bad as others anticipate. The other positive, at least for now, which we had signaled in the past as a worrying issue, was the fact that fertilizer prices, fuel prices were very high because of the war in the Middle East. With now the Strait of Hormuz open and this peace deal, which we hope will hold for some time, will help in lowering the input costs for farmers, because that's the big issue that we're worried about in addition to that. So from mid-October in the eastern regions of South Africa, folks will start preparing the land, getting ready to plant, and in some of the western regions of the country, some from around about mid-November, they will start to prepare to plant. But I think the updates on the weather outlook that we will get towards that period will also be as informative. But I think the core point is that the soil moisture is better this time around. These longer rainfall periods are helping, and for the livestock farmers as well. I mean, the grazing veld is not in a messy situation like in the past that we have. But of course, the other thing that the farmers will consider in their decision this time around is also the issues of profitability. I mean, the commodity prices are low because we've had an excellent season. I mean, the season we are closing, the 2025-26 production season, it's a record summer grain and oilseeds in South Africa, about 21.1 million tons. So all of this is at a time where even internationally there's a lot of grains, there's a lot of oilseeds, and much of this is putting pressure on the prices. So there is a profitability conversation that the farmers will have. But in a nutshell, we are concerned about an El Nino. Its impact will be clear over time, but we are going to start the next season in a better footing than we've seen in the past. That's the real point to all of the folks that had sent some of their points asking about how are we thinking about this. Cheers, folks.